Well, good morning, everyone. We are live. People are guessing about the haircut. This is interesting times. So, shall we go for the big reveal? Are you hearing me loud and clear? Jolly good. Then we shall begin. Hey, guess what? I look much the same as I ever did, but yes, here I am. Welcome to my first lockdown haircut live stream. Yes, I have been trimmed nicely. I've got my laptop open so I can keep an eye on the chat. Yeah, let's get underway. Let's get your messages in. I'll talk about this a bit first. This beautiful tea towel from New Zealand was a present from Megan, who I stayed with a couple of times on the trip, Megan and Nick, so thank you very much for that. But this is a puheko, which is like a giant moorhen, and in one live stream I failed to identify it, so Megan bought me a tea towel so I could always know what a puheko is, to remind me of my Kiwi days. So yeah, good times indeed. Something else I want to say before we get too far in is I'm wearing my Aging Wheels t-shirt because tomorrow I will be publishing an interview with Mr. Aging Wheels himself, Robert Dunn. So that was a lot of fun. Mic is a bit scratchy. Oh, sorry about that. It might be a bit too sensitive. Maybe it's scratching about. I'll try not moving. Maybe that'll be better. It isn't a very good microphone, but it's the best I've got. I'll just make sure it is definitely plugged in correctly, and then I'll try not to move, he says, grabbing his cup of tea. But yes, good morning, everyone. Oh, Wasabi Cars says, thank you for the P6 video. Yeah, that was meant to be released tomorrow, and Aging Wheels was meant to be on Friday. I got it all good, all the wrong way around. So never mind, technical issues abound at the moment, it seems. Any chance of getting took over to LA so Jay Leno can test drive it? That strikes me as a little over-ambitious, but you never know what's possible in the future. So good thing. The arm wounds, yeah, those who follow me on social media will know I've been battling with the GSA. My arm has recovered. Yesterday, I looked like a self-harmer. I look in far better shape today. Oh, you don't think it was the mic, just sound blips? Okay, that's good news. The stream is a bit iffy. Oh, that's sad times. Yeah, that's a little disappointing. We are on the Wi-Fi now because I seem to have no 4G today, so that's a bit rubbish. Ever heard of Ford Crown Victoria? Yes, I've been watching Cletus racing several of them around a racetrack recently. That was good fun. Skyline video was one of the best V8 sounds. The Skyline was not V8, but interesting. Oh yeah, we're all good now. Oh, and here we go. Thank you, Big Jono, for a donation there to the Tea and Bacon Roll Fund. We're off to visit the meat man and acquire bacon after this live stream. So thank you very much. That's very kind of you. Yeah, imagine coming to Malaysia. I'd love to go to Malaysia. I had so many people following my Proton exploits when I had mine. Yeah, it would be interesting to check the country out. Have you ever heard of the Overland A3? I don't believe I have, but maybe one day I'll see a picture and know. Oh, welcome to Wolfgang Scoggins, who's just become a basic hub nutter. Hello, Alan in Cairns in Queensland. Hopefully it's a little bit cooler up that way now. It's sort of heading into autumn, wintry sort of time up there. Sound is still scratchy. That's really irritating. I don't know what's going on there. I hope it isn't a wiring issue. Yeah. Martin Costas, which cars are at home and which are locked at the workshop? Yeah, I've only got the GSA here, but I have been doing some tinkering with the GSA. The cable never made it here. I had to send it back, but I did some tinkering yesterday. There will be a video, hopefully on Monday, on that. Brisbane's still warm. Does it ever actually get cold in Brisbane? I'm intrigued. It always seems very hot up there when I watch the skid factory. Sound is crackling slightly. That is very irritating. I mean, I can take the microphone out of the phone, but then I think the sound will be worse. There you go. I've taken the mic out, so now you've just got the phone sound. Is that better? Worse? Let me know in the chat. Check out the Facebook group. I sent you a link. Oh, people send me links to Facebook groups all the time. I can't be in all of them, unfortunately. That's worse. That's better. Sound is fine. No worse. Slightly quiet. A bit quieter. Right. Okay, let's get the mic in. Cover your ears. We're back in. But yeah, the same scratch. Interesting. It must just be a bug on the live stream. There's not a lot I can do about that, unfortunately. I'm not going to start it again. Matt Beale has become a basic hub nutter. Thank you, Matt. The modern Toyota FJ. Have you seen the triple wiper goodness? I have, thanks to Musty One has a Toyota FJ at the moment over in New Hampshire, I think he is, in America. Yeah, that's he's been showing some wiper content quite a lot recently. It does snow in Queensland. Ooh, wow. Queensland is somewhere I'd like to go because summer was not the time. Alpha 75 V6, what do you think of it? I would love to drive an Alpha 75 of any kind. But yeah, hopefully it'll all be good. I live in Melbourne, but Brisbane in the winter is 25 degrees. Oh, gosh. Thanks, Ivano. You might be sneaking into a future video. I've just started editing up one of my travels, and Ivano gave me a tour of Melbourne Centre. I thought I'd record more footage, but it's going to be a very whistle-stop tour. We weren't very lucky with the weather that day. So we'll see what's going on. Patrick Phillips asks about a live stream with Itchy Boots. I'm not sure about doing more of the interviews, to be honest. They've been good fun to do, but in terms of views, they're not very popular. And it's kind of depressing. I don't want to be a person who's chasing views, but when you put a lot of work into something and then no one watches, it's very frustrating, especially as the feedback on them is very good. Those who watch it enjoy the live streams, but I think it's just a bit too podcasty for YouTube. I think maybe that's the problem. Grant Cookson, any vid of the go-karts in Melbourne? Yes, I've still got that footage to come. In terms of timeline, where I am with the timeline of the trip and making videos, I've just reached Melbourne. So that's going to be towards the end of Melbourne, but I've only got 5 parts, I think, in Melbourne. So yeah, that should be good. Putting in a podcast also, that's an option. I don't know anything about podcasts. I don't even know how you do it, but might be something to look at. But then I quite like the visual. I like to put up the photos of the cars we're talking about. It can make a difference. Matt Beale testing his BMW race car at Pembury. Yeah, well, hopefully later this year. There is talk the Welsh government are doing things a bit differently to the UK at the moment. They're being even more strict than anywhere else and saying you can't even cycle very far at the moment in terms of going out places. But they do hope that in a few weeks we'll get a bit of freedom so we can start getting out, which means I can get to the unit, hopefully. I could probably justify going to the unit technically because it is work, but it just feels it isn't really in the spirit of the situation at the moment. And people got angry enough with me going for a 10-minute drive around Cardigan the other week. So yeah, you have to tread carefully at the moment. People are being very judgmental. Do you want to visit the Isle of Man? Yes, I have friends on the Isle of Man. Yep. Johnny Pervert. Yes, Johnny Car Pervert could possibly help with podcasting. Yes. No, don't worry, Tone. I called him Johnny Pervert the other day as well. It's an occupational hazard of his name. Sue Kennedy asks whether I miss Betty. Indeed I do. And I've had emails in the past week from both the previous owner of Betty and the current owner of Betty. And yeah, he brought back some fond memories. Incidentally, if you want a hoodie of Betty, I believe we've got 4 left. All the t-shirts have sold out. I'm absolutely amazed. I couldn't believe everything sold out that quickly. Yeah, that was really good news. I don't know what sizes the hoodies are, but they're available at the Hubnut store. If you go to hubnut.org and click the link. Are you doing anything special for 60,000 subs? Asks JYS160. Yes, the video is locked and loaded. I recorded it in New Zealand. It's a very special one. And it's sat there just waiting for that magic moment to come, which I think will probably be in the next week or so. Have you been to Bewley Car Museum? Asks Terabyte. No, I've never been there. I sort of have, because I went to a show there, Simply Japanese, a few years ago. And I'm actually friends with someone who's on the press team down there as well. But I enjoyed the show so much, I didn't go into the museum at all. So I've never been inside the museum. I have asked if I can do a tour, and they said no. For some reason, they don't want people going in and doing tours. So fair enough, I just won't visit the museum then. I'm hoping to do more of a tour of the British Motor Museum and look at some of the very interesting cars they have there. The British Motor Museum is in Warwickshire, whereas the National Motor Museum is down in Bewley. So yeah, we'll see what comes. Oh, Jason 2 has obviously joined fairly recently. When is the Aging Wheels interview coming? Tomorrow, hence wearing the Aging Wheels t-shirt. Phil Bruce found the original pre-Michelotti styling drawings of the P76. That'd be interesting to see, because I do wonder how much Michelotti there is in the final car. It's a car that looks like it was styled by several different people, but they didn't necessarily get along. Malaysian nationalist ask who Betty is. That was the Ford Fairmont AU that I drove around New Zealand. Ever done a car factory tour? No, because I tend to prefer old cars. So that's something to do. Ford Heritage site. Yeah, I'd like to visit Ford Heritage again. I've been a couple of times when I was working in the media. I haven't been to do a video. I've done Vauxhall, but now I need to go and get down to Ford and do the same. Mitchell Jones, do you know about the years ago in this inline 6 Metro? I certainly do. They wouldn't let me drive it because I don't believe it's run for a very long time. But it is one of the cars I would like to do a bit more on. Very interesting. Yes, an inline 6 Metro 1275cc. Well done for keeping all your clothes on in the P76. That was a hot day. Yeah, but no knees alert. We were all good. British Motor Museum has a lot of Jags. Yeah, that's because downstairs in the collection centre is the Jaguar Heritage Collection. I've been fortunate enough to play with some of those cars as well. Have you been to the Morgan factory? No, I guess that'd be an interesting one. People complaining about your driver probably queuing outside B&Q. Yes. There's a lot of judging at the moment, and we just need a bit more common sense, I think. I mean, people shouldn't be going out and pretending nothing's going on. But at the same token, if you're just going for a 10-minute drive during an essential trip, I don't think that's so bad, which is why I was happy to put the video out. Are you interested in that 2-door Vauxhall Cavalier Mark II on eBay? I'm not interested in buying. I am interested to see it. I'm very, very glad it survives, because there are so few. There always were so few 2-door Cavaliers. So yeah. If you want a Trabby t-shirt, Eddie, you need to go to the Aging Wheels channel on YouTube. He's got a link to his store. This is his design, and I was really pleased to wear this t-shirt in Hungary, which is where his Trabant came from. Fiat Tempera or Ford Orion? I'd probably go Fiat Tempera, and it's not because I'm anti-Ford. It's just because the Tempera is a bit more interesting, a bit more Italian, a bit more flair, and you could have actually on both of them, you could have a rear wiper on the higher spec models, even in saloon form. Did you see any Protons in Australia? Yeah, I think I did. I think I have seen Protons in Australia. Have you driven a Saab 94, 95? There is no such thing as a Saab 94. There is 92, 93, 96. I've driven a 96 2-stroke and a 96 4-stroke, not on video. 95 is the estate version thereof. Fun fact, Eric Carlson once used a Saab 95 2-stroke on the Monte Carlo Rally because it had a 4-speed gearbox, whereas the saloon only had a 3-speed. It's a fun fact for you. Might be interested in your Triumph Acclaim. Yes, Retro Restore. Yeah, that's entirely possible. I'm yet to do a video on an Acclaim. I've barely driven one. Drove on a very short distance. But yeah, could be very interested. Thoughts on Volvo 850? I like them. Yeah. Glad you got a haircut. Yeah, so let's talk a bit more about the haircut. I think it's gone really well. Actually, I'm very pleased with it. It's my first lockdown haircut, a proper test for my girlfriend, of which she has passed with flying colours, so it's all good times. Ian Steele checked out AR Online. Yes, fascinating stuff. aronline.co.uk, fascinating website. Lose yourself for hours on there. It's perfect lockdown material to go on that website and just look at the vast history of British Leyland and BMC, and a bit more. He's added a bit more since, so very interesting. Oh, the Saab Sonnet was also called the Saab 94. Well, that's a fact I didn't know. So there we go. I have got a Sonnet potentially lined up, I think. Have you driven a Daihatsu Shiraz GTTI? Yes, but not on video. That was for a magazine feature, and it was possibly the most hilarious vehicle I'd ever driven at the time. I have a couple of Daihatsu videos from Tasmania to come. They're going to be good. So I'll be not in that sense of past. The last to claim off the production line is at Gaydon. Indeed it is. It's some very interesting cars there. Did you manage to get that BX to Wales? What, the one I drove in New Zealand? No, it's still in New Zealand. My friend Stuart is selling it, the BX 19 GT Mark 1. Very rare car, very lovely car. Does need some work, but yeah, there's a lot of potential to be a very nice car there. Have you seen the development video for the Austin Metro on YouTube? Yes, Jack, I have. It is very interesting, yes. St Helens Transport Museum. I would love to do more museum visits. It went down really well on the New Zealand trip. So yeah, we'd very much like to. Emery, if I'm pronouncing that right, did you sell the Starlet? Yes, it belongs to my friend Dave. I still see it occasionally. If you had all the... Oh, don't say if you had all the money in the car. Oh, no, it'd be a nightmare. My girlfriend was much more reasonable when it comes to the cost of the haircut than the place I went to in Hamilton in New Zealand, where I had the full wet shave thing going on. Are you watching VHS rallies on YouTube? Asks Cannons. Yes, not all of them because they're pumping them out at such a rate, but very, very interesting. How much to ship the BX? I reckon we're talking a couple of grand. Although shipping might not even be possible at the moment. New Zealand really has shut itself off. Any more French diesels coming up? Not at the moment, Philo, but hopefully before too long. Hubnut P76 t-shirt. We're always limited because we do all the merchandise ourselves. We don't just use a partner who does all the work for us. We're limited in the amount of stock we can carry at once, and also in terms of getting designs. I have grand plans further down the line of doing a full range of t-shirts of unusual cars, but that's going to have to wait. We can't do that at the moment. Benno asks about Rich and the Mighty Dacia. I believe he's still working on it, but I know his personal life is pretty cluttered, so I don't think he's got much tinkering time. I was going to arrange to meet up with Rich to work on the Dacia and talk a bit more about it, but obviously we're now in lockdown. I can't get anywhere near him, so that's a bit unfortunate. Have you been keeping the walking up? Must concede probably not doing quite as much walking as I should be, but I still try and get out for a leg stretch every day if I can. Would you drive a Hino bus? Well, yes, I'll drive any bus. Specifically trying to get my hands on an MCW Metro bus at the moment. Where are we? Favourite museum on my trip? Oh, that's a difficult one, because the Packard and Pioneer Museum, where the chap started all the cars, that was brilliant. I really enjoyed going to Invercargill, the Bill Richardson Transport World. That was a fascinating museum as well. Yeah, all of them were kind of magnificent. I really enjoyed all of them. But that tractor museum in Tasmania was kind of one of the best. There weren't many museums in Australia, but that tractor museum, he let me play with the tractors. We started some of them up. Absolutely brilliant. Do check out the Tractors of Tasmania video. We need you in a Bristol VR bus. I don't have much personal link to Bristol VRs. I'm more a Daimler Fleetline Leyland Atlantean sort of a man. Speaking of buses, ZF versus Voith. Well, you can't beat a Voith retarder is the problem, isn't it? I'm picking out odd questions. They're coming through at a bit of a rate because I still haven't worked out how to turn slow chat on. It's never going to happen. I've looked at the instructions and they just don't match up with what I'm seeing at my admin end. So stuff it. I'm just going to pick out what I can. Was there a letdown card test that you didn't like while you were away? No, I think I like everything. There was a test that hasn't appeared yet on an Alfa Romeo GTV, and it might not because it sounded amazing, but I couldn't find any fast roads to drive it on because it was in Sydney, so I was just stuck on urban roads where you couldn't enjoy the power and the noise. Oh, thank you, Scottish Car Enthusiast TV. T-Fun topped up again. It's always good. I better finish this because this is getting cold, so talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Right. give me a chance to go through some of the questions. First car was a Renault Dauphine. Oh yeah, I love Dauphines. In an MCW Metrobus, Cummins L10 or Gardner. Well, it's the Gardner LXB is the engine I remember. That was the one that was fitted to most of the buses in the West Midlands. Let's get rid of that. Right. Gary asks, did you see the reports car manufacturers lobbying the government for a scrappage scheme? Yes. Very disappointed by that. The whole idea of scrappage just annoys me. I mean, the entire economy needs stimulation once we're out of this. And I think it's wrong for one part of the economy to put their hand up and say, we think we're more important. Everyone's important. So, yeah, hopefully everything picks up once we're out of this. Stage 1 V8, yes, I've still got a couple of road tests to come from New Zealand. Land Rover Stage 1 V8 is one of them. Do you have friends who sell parts for Starlet? No. No, I just bought them on eBay when I needed them, or went to the local parts factor. That was possible. Would you consider a pre-war car? Yes. But I'm not sure a pre-war car would be that much fun around here in Wales. I think it would feel downright dangerous the speed people drive on the roads. Is your t-shirt part of your merch? No, this is Aging Wheels merchandise. You can buy it from his website. Although be warned, most people don't know what the car is and they think you're walking around in a t-shirt that just says smoking is cool. Oh, another top up to the T-Fund. Thank you, Philo. Thoughts on the Range Rover, early models from 70s. Love them, very agricultural. Have a Range Rover test coming up. And that should be fun. That's another one of the Kiwi ones. Eddie used to own an MG 260 V8. Oh, well done, sir. A hubnut car, that's a tricky one because big V8s aren't really what I'm about, but the more I drive big V8s, the more I like them. And I've got some very powerful V8 content to come from Australia as well. Yeah, as Welsh are just used to the flowing roads and they're lovely and empty at the moment. I've been hurtling around a fair bit in the GSA. Not too much because you don't want to crash at the moment, but certainly enjoying the clear roads. Did the wood floor on the MGA make you nervous? Not really, I'd drive an Invacar. A video on the con of scrappage. I have actually recorded a bit of a vlog about scrappage, so I'll talk more about that in that. And I have done, because I've already recorded it. Has DHL delivered? No. But there's been progress on the GSA nonetheless. Do you ever go and watch any road rallies? No, I haven't gone to watch any of the road rallies, and there are going to be more of them. There was one while I was away, and new regulations mean it's a lot easier for them to close roads and have races on public roads, so it'd be good to see. Any thoughts on when the 404 video will be put live? No, sorry, it's just in the stash, a considerable stash of backlog videos still to come. Yeah, John, see you've got a problem in Ireland with insurance companies not quoting for older cars. We've kind of got a similar thing in the UK where insurance companies for modern cars won't cover old cars, and then the companies that cover old cars are getting very fussy about some of the classics they'll cover. So, yeah, it's becoming a bit of an issue, insurance. Did you have any luck finding GSA parts on eBay? I haven't really looked too much, to be honest, but there isn't a lot on there for GSAs. And if there are parts, it's a bit like 2CVs. eBay is the worst place to buy bits for a 2CV. You're far better going to a parts supplier like ECAS 2CV Parts or Burton in the Netherlands. Because these companies refuse to sell on eBay, it means people are sort of making markups. There's no competition, so don't buy your 2CV parts on eBay. It's not a good idea. eBay's handy for more common cars where parts are plentiful, but again, you've got to think about the quality. And if you go on price all the time, you just end up with cheap crap that breaks, inevitably. So, not good times. Thoughts on the Fiat Coupe? Asked Jack the Beast. I would love one. I think they're fantastic looking things, but I fear I've missed the boat. They're getting too expensive. Rear engine cars. I like rear engine cars. I would like to do more tests on them, especially Simca 1000. Definitely need to do a Hillman Imp at some point. NSU Prince would be good to do. Renault Dauphine. Do you miss the Field of Dreams? As in my friend's field, I certainly do. We have so much fun there. What's the plans for the cars on the airfield? Is that the old scrappage cars that are still sitting around? I have no idea. Infuriating, but it's still there. Who's paying for that storage? Malaysian nationalist, have you ever seen Jeremy Clarkson destroying a Perodua Kalisa? I have. It proves he's an idiot. It was just a stupid, unnecessary thing to do. And yeah, it's just class bullying. I don't like it. Would I consider a Beetle? Probably not, because a lot of other people do Beetle-y stuff, and it's just not my sort of thing. I prefer my air-cooled engines at the front generally, although my other car's rear engine, so I've just shot myself in the foot. Woo! Have you done a Beetle 1200? Well, sort of. I did a Beetle 1200 that had been converted to electric. That's quite good. Favourite Volkswagen Type 3 body? I've got a Type 3 test in the pipeline in that huge backlog. So, yeah, that'd be an interesting one. Volkswagen K70 or Mark 1 Passat? It'd have to be the K70 because that's effectively the last NSU design. It was not a Volkswagen design. Perodua Mivi. I'm not that much of a fan of the Mivi, to be honest. It's not my favourite Perodua. I'm more a Nipper or, sorry, a Cancel to you Malaysians, or a Canary. The Perodua Canary is probably my favourite Perodua. If I'm saying Perodua right, or is it Perodua? I'm not sure. Tatra air-cooled V8s are interesting cars. Yes, and they're rear-engined as well. Rolls-Royce Silver Spirit. Yes, I would like to do one of those. Are you sporting the sandals? No, I am barefoot currently. I will spare you the horror. My feet are still stripy from the sandals and me being on the other side of the world. Was the Canary a facelifted Daihatsu Move? Yes, but it also, well, no it wasn't, because the Move got facelifted, we just didn't see it. So the Japanese had a Daihatsu Move with the quad headlamps and everything, and I think the Malaysians just took that design on with the larger 989cc engine. So they go a bit better than a Move. I did do a Move test, but sadly it all went a bit wrong, and I had massive sound issues, so I need to re-record that at some point. Very upsetting. Citroen Centenary, there were electric 2CVs, there were some at Croatia as well. Would you ever consider that for Ellie? It would be a last resort. I like 2CVs to have their original engines, but if there's no alternative and the only way to keep my 2CV going is to convert it to electric, I would do that. I would rather do that and keep driving it than take it off the road and put it in a museum or something. That's, whoa. Do you like Toyota Camrys? I've got a Toyota Camry test to come, and it was interesting because it's the first time I'd driven one, so I'm not going to say anything. Got the speedo cable for the GSA yet? No, but there will be GSA progress, don't you worry. GSA for sale in Australia, $14.99 on the dollars. That is cheap. Yeah, buy that, Phil. You should have it. You could drive the Invacar in reverse all the time. I could, but you get a crick in your neck. I have done a fair bit of reversing in that car because I used to go up and down the driveway. Wasn't much turning space, so I'd reverse it back down in the days when I hadn't yet got her road legal. So that needs to happen. I used to have an XL7 V6. Is that the Suzuki Grand Vitara? I've driven a Suzuki Vitara V6 and I was ever so disappointed because the engine just didn't sound nice. I was most disappointed. Maybe a bit of an induction kit and a sporty exhaust might make it sound interesting, but it just sounded really plain. I was very annoyed. And Suzuki Vitaras themselves, good fun, but by heck are they loud. Very noisy little cars. Have you driven a Zastava Yugo? Yes, a 55A Guna Shane. Go and search for it. I found it in New Zealand. It was one of 300 of the 45, 55 sold in New Zealand. And yeah, good fun test that. Allegro or Maxi? I'd always go Maxi, I think, just for the extra practicality. I think the Maxi's looks are a little bit softer as well. I mean, it's always been a bit awkward around the back, but there you go. Thoughts on a Citroen Berlingo Multispace? Yeah, I quite like that full first generation Berlingo, although massive triangle of doom. Have you driven a Vauxhall Senator 24 valve? No, that's on my wish list. Seaside Garage has become a basic hub nutter. Thank you very much. Look for the join button under this video, or if you go to youtube.com/hubnut, you should see a join button there. and you can support the channel, become a basic hub nutter. You get a little hub nut logo next to your name, and you get the joy of supporting what I do. So thank you very much. And it's a tricky time at the moment. I don't want to hold my cap out too much, because I don't like doing it. But for all us YouTubers at the moment, our income is dropping because, well, we're still putting the videos out, and I think you're still seeing adverts. That ad revenue is dropping off a cliff at the moment, because I guess the advertisers aren't paying as much, or there aren't so many adverts. So I'm okay at the moment financially. I'm very pleased to report. I know people are having a very difficult time at the moment, but I'm just mentioning that other channels are feeling the pinch much more than I am. So yeah, it's scary times. But obviously there are ways to support the channel that don't involve spending any money at all. You can share the videos on social media, like the videos, just watching the videos, it all helps. So thank you everyone for your support. Is the garage open where we last saw the City Rover? No. The City Rover is still sat at the garage. The garage is not open. I can't do anything at the moment, so it's very, very sad. Grateful you don't get the join option. Okay, if you can't join the channel, then you can go to patreon.com/hubnut and become a patron instead. That's another way of supporting the channel. To be honest, I think that probably works better in raw financial terms, but we don't want to get too financial about it. But I try to ensure that channel members and patrons get the same sort of treatment. So once lockdown's over, I'll go back to doing monthly Q&As, and Hubnut channel members and the patrons will get to ask the questions for those. So how many more vids from Australia to come? Probably 5 videos on the trips, the journey of Australia, but I've got a load of road tests, at least 15 road tests to come. Wolfgang asks, does it make a difference if you watch ads rather than skip? I don't know, to be honest. A lot of people seem to say that you must watch the ads. I've got no proof that that's a thing at all. So I'm not going to tell you to watch the ads, because I hate adverts as well. I've actually got YouTube Premium, which isn't cheap. It's something like 10 or 12 pounds a month, but it means you get no adverts, and it's blissful. I love it. And contributors still get a cut of that income. So I think I get £100 a month now from people who have the YouTube Premium set up and ad-free viewing. So, you know, all makes a difference. Love the Betty t-shirt. Are you still making mugs? Yes, we're looking to restock mugs. We've got mugs in stock. I think most mugs are in stock. I think we're out of Took mugs at the moment. I had a catch up with Rachel the other day to try and talk about stock, because Rachel now looks after the shop full time. And just to confirm for people who, apparently some people are still unaware, me and Rachel were married. We split up early last year. But Rachel is still looking after the shop. We still get on very well. George the cat lives with Rachel. He's very happy. I saw him sitting in a box the other day, so he's happy. All is good. But it does mean I'm a little more separated from the shop than I used to be, so I don't know the ins and outs of exactly what we've got in stock at any one time. But we did have a quick chat, so I know apart from Took mugs, we've got all the mugs in stock. We are trying to get some bigger mugs designed as well, probably just a basic Hubnut style. We want to do some Betty mugs, but yeah, at the moment it's quite difficult to get stuff going, because not all companies are trading, so trying to get info is difficult. Crashbox uses free ad blocker. Yeah, the problem with using free ad blocker is it won't show up as viewing the adverts, I don't think. So I don't think that's necessarily a good thing for contributors. Again, I don't know. I don't see the ins and outs of that. But yeah. Or does Rachel live with George? That's a very good point, Robert. Yes, maybe Rachel's lucky enough to live with George, not the other way around. But yes, he certainly does like his books. Has the French Citroën show been cancelled or rescheduled? I don't know which one that is. Pretty much everything this summer is being rescheduled. Yeah, problematic. Give £10 a month to the Pet Rescue Centre. Well, that's good of you. I did a donation this week. Some people in my local community are making scrubs for the local hospital, and so I gave them a nice donation because I think that's a great thing to do. And Jenny's one of the people who's involved in that sewing team. She repaired my cloak before I went away, and also my wax jacket where the little tag had come out the back. So thank you, Jenny, for doing that. I think I'm not at the end of the questions at the moment. Oh dear. Oh, Terry Bus reckons he had a George hair. Oh well, you are privileged indeed. Yeah, we do recommend you wash t-shirts if you have any form of cat allergy, because George gets everywhere. According to YouTube ad page, the advertiser only pays if 30 seconds of the ad is watched. Well, there you go. Interesting to know. Oh, the show I was going to in the GSA DAX, I got you. Yes, that has been cancelled, so I will not be going to France next month. Very annoyingly, one hotel over there has been more than happy to offer a refund. The other one just ignoring any form of contact, so that's a bit disappointing. Festival of the Unexceptional has been cancelled. Yes, that'll be now taking place next year. I'm still booked in at the Ormskirk Motor Festival in August, but I think, to be honest, I don't think we're going to be allowed big events, big gatherings until we've got a vaccine in place, and I don't think that's going to happen before August. So I'm not holding out great hopes for that. Thank you, Nigel, for another contribution to the tea fund. That's very good of you. Mugs should be bigger for more tea. It's a very good point, Andy G. You're quite right. Have you seen the XJS hatch with Xantia Turgate? Asked Shane March. I have. Marsh, sorry, not March. Very nicely done, actually. Not Glanguli Hospital, Bronglice in Aberystwyth. Have you ever done an engine teardown and rebuild? Sort of. The 2CV's engine has been in pieces many times. And yeah, notably the day before I drove it to Croatia. Yeah, again, you say decent ad blocker works a treat, but ad blockers prevent the contributors getting money, I believe. I don't know exactly how that works, but that is my understanding. So yeah, you save yourself the adverts, but then the contributors don't get any income. So that's why. Do ad blockers reduce your income? I believe they do, but again, that's kind of a bit of a guess. Tux engine has been in bits. Yeah, let's not talk about Tux engine because I absolutely mullered the original engine. Would you like to visit Iceland? Yes. Still need hub nut overalls? Yes. Have you tested a Fiat 600? No. That needs to happen. The original 600, the little microbus, or the that's the multipler, or yeah, the little saloon that looks like a bigger 500. Saw loads of them on our trip from Croatia, which is unsurprising. They were built in what's now Serbia, I believe. So loads and loads of them. Malaysian nationalists, if you ever come to Malaysia and rent a car, what rental car would you rent? If you can rent a Canary, that'd be brilliant, but I'm guessing you probably can't anymore. Social distancing car means will be frustrating. We get the cars out. Yeah, I think smaller gatherings will be allowed. I think big gatherings are going to be problematic. The Practical Classics Classic Car and Restoration Show was meant to be taking place back in March. Obviously that got postponed, and that's now early August. But again, if the government says you can't have gatherings of more than even 1,000 people, that show can't happen. So I've got my fingers crossed, but I won't be surprised if that gets cancelled again. I'm just trying to catch up with the questions. Any plans for another project car? Not at the moment. I've got enough of them. Really need to get started on the Tercel. Do you like Formula One? Not really, but I do have Albert Park coming up in a future video. It's quite amusing to watch the videos of Melbourne that I recorded in February, because I'm talking about all this stuff that I thought was going to happen, including the Grand Prix in Australia. And of course, it all got cancelled in the end. So it's, yeah, a bit strange. Would you intentionally remove one wheel trim? I removed all the wheel trims on the GSA. Out and about with Phil. a bit overkill to hear, but what kind of tea do you drink? At the moment, I'm on PG Tips, but I'm not sure it's my favourite of the teas, to be honest. Favourite Group B car? Very, very difficult, but I think probably Metro 6R4, just for the noise. Typical British Leyland stroke Austin Rover, but they decided to go for a naturally aspirated engine rather than a turbocharged one. So they went for more cylinders and could have a 3-litre engine, and oh, the noise is fantastic. Pete Flint Murray is late to the party, but hello, good to see you. You've made it. It's still before 12 o'clock. Have you been watching welding videos? No, I haven't. I'm still not sure if I want to weld, but I've had offers to help me, so we'll get there when we get there. Imp on Car SOS. I haven't seen that. I have been watching Salvage Hunters Classic Cars after my interview with Paul Cowland. That was a very interesting chat. Again, it's done rubbish for views because people don't seem to like watching these chats, but some very interesting cars. He's got some very interesting cars himself, including a Peugeot 505 Familiale. So do go and check out my chat with Paul Cowland from the telly. He's doing a great job, and it's a good program to watch as well. I'm not just saying that because I'm friends with Paul. I'm saying that because it genuinely is good telly. Car people can watch it, and it's actually interesting. I'm not saying Car SOS isn't. I find Car SOS too emotional for me, to be honest. I find it uncomfortable to watch because I'm a wuss. Who did you give the Perodua Nipper and Proton Saga? Proton Saga was sold, but sadly it's stolen from the previous owner and scrapped, so that was annoying. The Perodua Nipper is still with Rachel. I saw it the other day, so that's all good. Aging Wheels might give you some tips on welding. That's very true. He's very busy welding a bus at the moment. So yeah, further reminder, Aging Wheels chat going live tomorrow. Renault 14 review would be ace. It certainly would if I could find one. Mr. Pastry loved the chat. Yeah, thank you. People really enjoyed watching the chats who watched it. It's just that not many people watched them. Very, very sad. Get Bad Obsession to teach me how to weld. Yeah, and then we'll get the Tercel finished in 2048. If you could bring home any of the cars you drove in Australia or New Zealand, which would you choose? That is really difficult because the Daihatsu Fellow Max was amazing. Although it turns out my mate Eddie has bought one. So he now has one, and I would like to play with it very much. He has many amazing vehicles. I hope to catch up with him next year. And talking of Alfa Romeos that are Hubnut approved, he owns both an Alfa Romeo Arna and a Nissan Cherry Europe, which is the same thing. And I'm desperate to do a video on that car. His Cherry Europe has briefly appeared in one of the Invacar videos when I went to Festival of the Unexceptional with Took, the Invacar. But I just haven't had a chance to do a video on it. Very annoying. Will Hubnut Socials recommend when we are out of lockdown? Within the rules, yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, the Lancia Delta Car SOS, that's the last one I watched. And yeah, like I said, the owner died while they were working on the car. And oh, yeah, my heartstrings just aren't up to that. Oh, dear. Ship the Tercel parts in the boot of the BX. Yeah, that's a good idea, apart from the fact that there's over 1,000 miles between the BX and the... well, probably even more than that. Probably more like 2,000 miles between the BX and the bits of Tercel. Which is the most likely car that you will sell first? Sold first? Probably the City Rover, to be honest, although my girlfriend loves the City Rover, so I'm not allowed to sell it, and that's why I'm going to spend a stupid amount of money getting it back on the road. Not the only reason. I would quite like to save it myself, just because saving crap cars is definitely what Hubnut is all about. And good time. Least Hubnut car you like? I think that will be revealed in a future video when I had massive fun in an HSV Maloo with over 400 brake horsepower. Not a very Hubnut car, but by heck did I love it. Simone says Pete is up for an interview. I guess that's Pete C. But yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going with the interviews. I would like to actually catch up with Pete once we're allowed to move again. Because Project Bramble... Oh gosh, has Project Bramble come on since I last saw it? Because obviously, last time I saw Project Bramble, I think he got parts of the roof skin cut away. It was just, yeah, rotten as a pear. And now I believe it's been painted. So yeah, he's come on a fair treat with that Mark III. And it'd be much more interesting to go and have a look at the car as it comes together. So we'll see. Batman, how do you get on with the legal aspect of using cameras and phones in cars? Well, TV people seem to do it all the time. So there's one thing that I insist on, and that's that I pay attention to the road more than anything. So what you don't see is where I've had to cut it out because, say, I've just stopped speaking because something's going on in front of me and I need to deal with that situation. And then I'll be annoyed, but I'll start recording again and off we go. Mobile phones are always in a mount. I'm not driving along doing this. They're always in the mount, and I only use them for video. I'm not checking comments or emails while I'm driving along, because that would not be good times. Big Johnny 242, chat with Fuzz, Fuzz Townsend of Car SOS. I'd like to do that. I get on well with Fuzz, mostly because he used to work at a bus garage for the Birmingham City Transport, which became the West Midlands Passenger Transport Executive. So he was working on the buses of my childhood, so we can always have very boring conversations about buses. So yeah. Have you ever driven a rotary car? Yes, I've got an NSU Row 80 test on this very channel, and I'm hoping to add a GS bi-rotor to that list in the future. Oh yeah, thanks for letting the P76 do the talking. I done a bit of experimenting while I was over there, and because I often do a lot of driving when I'm not recording, so I actually just left the camera running. So I'm going to do a separate video that is just the car and none of my mouth noise, which people might like. I've done that on the Leyland P76. I did it a bit in the Rover P3 that I drove in Sydney. And I'm sure there's another car where I've just let the camera go, just so you can see what's around a bit more. So we'll see how that works. Jerry Dudebad, any inclination to visit Finland? Oh yes, I would love to visit Finland. Closest I've got is Sweden so far, but didn't have time to get to Finland on that trip. I'm desperate to get to Scandinavia again and also visit the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, that sort of thing. So I'm definitely hoping to do that once we are free to travel again. Barry Davies is, oh yeah, let's not go there just at the moment. Barry, that's dangerous, that's far too close to politics. Let's see a chat with Watch JR go with his Matiz-based freewheeler. Yeah, that could be an interesting one. He's got one of those cheap Chinese knockoffs of a Daewoo Matiz turned into a freewheeler, engines in the back, and yeah, they're absolute rubbish, I should think. And naturally, I want to drive one very, very much. Philo's Garage. What is your ratio of video shot to video used? I reckon I shoot about 1.5 hours to get 10 minutes of video. Yeah, that I can't do that. So my ratio is probably much more like 90% of what I shoot ends up going in. It might be 80-90%. I try to do most of my editing in the camera. I always use one camera only because, gosh, does it get complicated once you've got multicam. Multicam makes for better footage, but generally I'm going for simplicity. I don't have time really to think about setting up shots because most of my tests are shot in very little time. Most of them are under an hour. Yeah, I've got to try and do everything in that time. So I can't do multicam. I gave up on that. Makes life a lot complicated. So you people watching the stuff, when you see multicams flicking about, yeah, the person who put that video out has done a lot more editing than I have. Is that a Puheko? It is a Puheko. No, there it is on a T-tail. I thought I'd cover up the glittery dresses a bit more. So there you go. Aging Wheels Hudnut crossover, that is coming tomorrow. We had a chat. He's in Missouri, I'm in Wales, but joys of the internet, we were able to have a very pleasant chat. Could you do a how I make a video? That's not a bad idea. I'd also like to do a test of my DJI Osmo action camera. That's things to try and get on next week. Oh, hello Anvil Tech, you are a little late. It's 9 minutes to go, but you get a bit. If you visit Sweden, you should try and find a Saab 600. Yeah, there is one over here, Ricardo. It appeared at the NEC, one of the shows. And yeah, I would love to get my hands on one of those. Very strange. There's also a Subaru Impreza that was badged as a Saab at one point. Yeah, I could do a how I make a video. Yeah, that should be possible. We'll do that. So, a Hub Nut Fuzz collaboration that we can call Nut Fuzz. Possible, or Fuzz Nut. I quite like Fuzz Nut myself. Thoughts on the Renault 5? I love the Mark 1s. Mark 2s, not quite so much, a little bit too conventional. Would you ever do a video about some hints and tips for looking? Yeah, I probably should do that as well, yeah. Is there a reason why you limit videos to an hour maximum? It's because I'm talking for an hour. So we're now 50 minutes in, my voice is getting dry. I can't really just keep talking forever. Besides, we've got to go and visit the meat man. We need bacon. Remember driving the BX along that lovely beach? I certainly do. That was a fun day. Have you ever thought about visiting Japan? Yes, I would very much love to. Again, there's loads of places I want to go. Would you consider a video on the GSA cam belt change? Not really, because I don't believe it's due anytime soon. It would be fun though, because you have to take the entire front of the car off. More teas definitely needed as well. Do you still marvel at the shape of the Leyland National? I do. I think the Leyland National is a beautiful looking bus, and I was so pleased to find one in Tasmania. That was good times indeed. Yeah, I will come to Japan at some point with Wasabi cars. Maybe you can help, because I don't know very much about Japan, and yeah, maybe that's something we can discuss at some point. The Renault 9 or 11, well, I mean, the muchness really is just the 11's a hatchback. Me personally, I will go 9 because my dad used to have a Renault 9 Broadway. Lane Motor Museum on your visit list? Definitely, and I'll discuss that with Aging Wheels in tomorrow's video. Making me want bacon. Yeah, bacon's always good. Have you ever been approached by TV to make a series? No, I don't think that's how it works. I think you have to pitch your ideas at TV. I did once get approached by the producers of, oh no, what's the name of the show? The Judgy one with Robert, what's his face? Judge Rinder, yes. And they wanted me to go on Judge Rinder and make up a story about how someone owed me money and all this sort of stuff. And I did have a chat with them, but I was just like, nah, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm not that desperate for telly fame that I would go on a show like that. I'm not particularly desperate to get on telly at all. I like YouTube. I can do what I like. Have you ever seen the hairdressing bus at South Mims? It is a national, and in one of my videos, I took my Invacar and parked it right next to that very Leyland National. So that exists. Please tell me you did a video of the Tassie National. I didn't, but it is in one. I think it's my previous Tasmania video, because it was at the Tasmanian Transport Museum. So go and seek that out. It's gorgeous beige National, beautiful condition. Will you take the new family on future excursions? I should imagine so. I'm fitting some seatbelts to the rear of the GSA for that very reason once they arrive. I was slightly frustrated. I've done a lot of online ordering this week. Must be getting bored. And one of the items is going to be delivered by DHL. So that's not a good sign, is it? Opinion on the Daihatsu Terios. I've never driven one, but I quite like the look of them. Have you ever driven a Land Crab, Adam? Yes, I've driven, on video, I've driven an Austin Kimberley. So go and check out that video. Oh, Hoover Lux Restorations in with a donation again. A super chat. Thank you for that. Very much appreciated. The Renault 9 was made in Turkey until 2000. See, Turkey's a country I'd quite like to go to. But yeah, so many places I would love to go. Please mention how to donate. Okay, Finners, I will do that. There is a pound icon just below this chat box, or it might be $1 in some countries, but you should be able to see. So you can do a super chat via that. You can go to hubnut.org, go to the shop. There is a donate option there. Patreon.com is another option, patreon.com/hubnut, or you can join the channel. Sorry for that. T's getting to me. By clicking below this video somewhere, there is a join option as well. So many options for you, and thank you very much. It's oh, it's $1 in Scotland. Interesting. Yeah, it's very, very kind of you, and I certainly do appreciate it. Thank you. Ever driven a Porsche 924? No, I've only driven a 944, which is a 924 but with Porsche's own engine. And well, I think the 924S also had the Porsche engine, if I'm right. Have you ever seen a Saab Topola camper? Not in the flesh. I'm aware they exist. It's where you take the things are scrolling past too quick and I can't keep up. Yeah, I can't even remember what I was talking about now. I've confused myself. Oh yeah, Saabs. Yeah, you take the hatchback off and you plonk the caravan on. I've also seen them done to Ford Sierras. Dollar in Derbyshire. There you go. I can't actually see that window at the moment, so I'm just trying to remember. And yeah, thank you to those who recognise how much work it is putting out these videos. It is a lot of work, and I love it. I would never complain for a moment about it, but it's nice to have that acknowledged. For editing these videos, travelling all over the place, trying to arrange the tests. Someone asked a question on a video this week, how do you actually arrange the cars? And that was one of the things I found most exhausting on the trip, because obviously I was trying to pack so many tests into such a small amount of time, and trying to arrange the logistics, trying to find the cars. Hugely hard work, and there's times my brain just couldn't hack it, because you're trying to balance everything and get everything lined up so you can go to a certain place and do certain tests at the same time. But doing any more than 2 tests in a day, I find I just can't cope mentally, because obviously I've got to do the research beforehand. I don't make notes, which is why I get things wrong occasionally. So I start the camera rolling and try and regurgitate the facts. I made a huge error in the Leyland P76 video when I said 8007 had been built. It's 1800. No, sorry, 18,007. No? Yeah, 18,007 is the total number of P76s built. It doesn't help that I occasionally have number blindness, so that doesn't help. Phil Lacey has become a basic hub nutter. Thank you, sir. I met Phil, my friend from Devon, in New Zealand at Horopito Motors, and that was fabulous. And all the footage I filmed with him had sound issues, and I had to go back and film it all again in the afternoon. Bad times. Have you ever seen the Peugeot 304 Decapotable? Yeah, very pretty cars. Can you give a shout out to my grandma Sheila Wolfenden? She enjoyed watching. Oh, she enjoyed watching. Oh no, R.I.P. Oh, very sad to hear that, Evan. Sad times indeed. And then we jump for something like this. Have you got any blue emulsion left for the Fox? The interesting variety of the chat box. Yes, I have got paint for that. Yeah, 18,007 was the total of Leyland P76s. I'm very annoyed. I don't like getting facts wrong, but the truth is, you always get facts wrong. It happens when you're writing features. It happens when you're doing videos, and it's really, really irritating, but it can't really be helped. Oh wow, Philo's Garage spent 7.5 hours editing his last video. Yes, so the level of editing people do is frankly astonishing. I can generally edit one of my videos in under an hour, because like I say, I do most of my editing in just recording what I need. So yeah, I'm full of admiration for the people who sit there and just churn and churn on this stuff for hours. Look at what Soup Classic does with his footage where he makes the welds magically appear. That's hours of work. It's insane. So yeah, that would be my top tip to someone starting in YouTube, is just try to record what you need to reduce the editing load. I mean, I don't pretend my stuff is particularly clever or glamorous. I just keep it quick and simple. And the editing program I use is Movavi at the moment, which even just pulls all the clips in line, so it just reduces my editing time completely. Go get bacon. Oh yeah, you're right, it is getting on for bacon o'clock. Yeah, you're right. I like the Trabant t-shirt. Yeah, this is an Aging Wheels design. Head to the Aging Wheels channel. You can buy this very t-shirt, not this exact one, this very design. Get your words right. The annotations, yeah, I like to drop the annotations in. I'm glad people notice those. Sometimes I argue with myself. So, yeah, there you go. Gary Crick, my Nan's Citroen GSA suspension collapsed suddenly in 1991. Well, that shouldn't actually happen while you're driving along. They should drop gently. Unless it's blown a major pipe, and even then, I've had major pipes blow on BXs, and the worst that happens is it sprays the mist out. It doesn't just collapse. But you certainly never reach under a raised hydraulic citron. I was dicing with Def a bit when we were working on that DS, but that was on the jack, so that was all right. But still, you've got to be a bit careful with hydraulic citrons. They can sort of drop briskly, I would say, not collapse like that, but they can drop unexpectedly. Ian in South Wales is watching right now and is a massive fan. Thank you, Ian. With 2 eyes. That's just showing off. Where were we? What convinced you to become a YouTuber? I think I was just growing more and more dissatisfied with the world of magazines. It was getting harder and harder to make headway. And I'd started doing videos as a hobby and really enjoyed it, and realised I was never going to get a job being employed to make videos about cars, because frankly I'm not good enough for the professional stuff, the stuff like Carfection with Alex Goy, you know, where people are actually paid to do stuff about cars. I wasn't going to be at that standard, but people seem to like what I do, so I just kept on going with it, and the more I've done it, the more I've loved it. It's been brilliant. And yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed the live lockdown streams, but yeah, it's yeah, good fun. Right, I think I probably need to finish. That's what I need to do. I need to finish this up so we can go and get the weekly meat, because we use a chap comes to the village and delivers. Well, he doesn't deliver. We sort of go and queue 2 meters apart to get his lovely food. So we're going to go and do that. So sorry, William Ross, you've just appeared in time for me to say goodbye. And yeah, thank you everyone for your questions. Oh, Postman's just bought Sean an Eddie hoodie. Excellent, thank you very much. They're very nice, the hoodies. I wear them all the time. Right, well, thank you very much everyone for tuning in yet again. As I say, you can go to the Hubnut store and buy all the goodies there, find donate options there, and Patreon.com is also a thing. I must get better at actually self-promoting. I'm rubbish at it. But yeah, thank you very much. Would that be called a meetup? Yeah, well done, Robert Hickey. That's a good one. I like that. It works better written down. But yeah, I shall see you all in a future live stream. I was just about to close it on the laptop, but you're over here, so I need to press a button over here somewhere. I will leave you with the Aging Wheels t-shirt. Do check out the Aging Wheels interview tomorrow morning. I think you'll enjoy it. And bye-bye.